moral of the story is, one for my brother what I want for myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Come on. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody should. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good.
The sun is shining. The air is clear. My folks are smiling. No need for fear. The kids are learning what they should learn. Finally, folks are earning what they should earn.
I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody should. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. If there's enough for one, there's enough for two. It starts with me and it starts with you. It's complicated, but it's simple too. Just like patience, sharing is a virtue. Show folks where you stand. Lend a hand when you can to your fellow man. Overplan for the day when you can't work the way you used to. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody should. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good.
That's right.
Everybody eating good.
I want from my brother what I want from myself. I want from my sis what I want from my mother. Was an undercover thugger trying to get to the wealth, to the thug life, put my brother undercover. Now one of us gotta be around for the love of her. Turn my life around, now I spread love to others. I'm the one serving you facts, was the one serving you butters. Please be mindful of some Judases and mothers. Let's go.
All my people.
I want all my people around me.
Eating good.
I want all my people around me.
We here.
Everybody living good. Everybody's eating good. And everybody's. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody should. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody living good. From my side. Come on. Hello?
Hey. Can you talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I just think that you haven't noticed anything different about me.
Man, I'm really just trying to figure out what that was all about, though.
Well, until you do, I'll talk to you whenever I feel like you're ready.
Now I tried to be a good man day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know until it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in the deeper hole. But I tried to be a good man, day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know until it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in the deeper hole. But I tried to be a good man.
I mean, You act like you didn't see a difference.
What difference though? I told you I've been getting this OT.
Nah, you know what I'm talking about. It ain't even that.
Then what is it?
My precept. Don't know.
Shit, she hung up in my face. I'm awful with communication, more negotiation. Text her back within 2 seconds. Stressing off the fact I wasn't innocent. Innocence, I was ignorant. Didn't do my due diligence. But what? All she wanted was time. All she wanted was time. Wishing I seen the signs. Wishing I seen the signs was blinded. But trust me, girl, I'm here to stay. I hope when time passes, you don't veer away. I'm here to stay. Come on. Shit. Come on. Now I try to be a good man, day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know it till it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in a deeper hole. But I tried to be a good man, day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know it till it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in a deeper hole. But I tried to be a good man. Try to be a good man to you. 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 50-50 chance got me stressing, girl, I learned the lesson. I didn't know you was this invested, should've seen the signs. So I keep on falling once the season dies. Funny how time flies, feeling like I lost my prize. Now my back's against the wall, stressing, I'm just waiting on the call. Drinking alcohol, wondering if I ever could rekindle this, I hope so. Wish I would've made time for you, I was tripping, that's something we both know. But I tried to be a good man. Try to be a good man to you. 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 I try to be a good man, day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know it till it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in a deeper hole. But I try to be a good man, day to day, but I don't think you understand. Listen to what I'm saying. This feeling inside of me feel like I'm missing the artery. Thought it was all good just a week ago. Didn't know it till it hit me in the face. Now I'm falling in a deeper hole. But I tried to be a good man. So I see you decided to answer the phone today.
Yeah.
You want to see me?
Here I come.
Pizza cooking.
30 hertz straight up. Let me talk to you.
I don't wanna fight, I don't wanna argue. If we acknowledge the problem, then maybe we can solve it, babe. Ain't gotta speak, oh no, please don't bother. The pain too deep between you and me, don't let it go no farther. I respect you like my mother, you love me like your father. We barely knew our parents, so that made our job much harder. By the block we both was brought up, no love is what they taught us. We reciprocate the hate we learned, and somehow they still fought us. All we needed was some tender love and care. A crowded room, don't be confused, ain't none there. Say all we needed was some tender love and care. They want you around, but you feel love when you not there. Oh, it ain't fair, you see. I promise I would never push you, never hit you. I will only love you. Promise that I got the tattoo, prove that there can never be another. Promise that I got your back and we will never let each other struggle. I honor that you got my back, cause you the brain and baby I'm the muscle, so I trust you. That's why I love you. You keep the devil beneath your feet, but God above you. Babe, that's why I trust you. That's why I love you. You keep the devil beneath your feet, but God above you. They call us the power couple. Shout out to others who left some things along the way, but not each other. Hey, my power couple, straight from the struggle. They lost some things along the way, but not each other. They call them. You can put the house in your name, I can put the lights in my name. You can put the gas in your name, put the layaway in my name. I can put the car in your name, put the cable in my name. I pay it off with my change, never wanna hear you complain. Yeah, now I respect you like my sister, you trust me like your brother. Our friends have separated, but we still ain't left each other. They talk down because they jealous, move on is what they tell us. When the love is strong, get in your bone, it's known to be rebellious. All we needed was some tender love and care. You call on family, for some ain't none there. Say all we needed was some tender love and care. You got that love and space, you keep it cause it's real. It ain't fair, you see. I promise I would never push you, never hit you, never disrespect you. Promise that it's ever drama, I'm the one that's coming to protect you. Promise that I got your back, and if you ever feeling any pressure, I honor that you got my back, cause we unstoppable when we together, so I trust you. That's why I love you. Yeah, you keep the devil beneath your feet, but God above you. Babe, that's why I trust you. That's why I love you. You keep the devil beneath your feet, but God above you. They call us the power couple. Shout out to others who left some things along the way, but not each other. Hey, my power couple, straight from the struggle. They left some things along the way, but not each other. They call us the power. You can put the house in your name, I can put the lights in my name. You can put the gas in your name, put the layaway in my name. I can put the car in your name, put the cable in my name. I pay it off with my change, never wanna hear you complain.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome.
Positive vibes.
Go! You already know, home team.
Infinitely.
It's time for the show,
Representing the home team.
All we do is vibe, we don't do the drama on this side. Vision full of pride. Okay, what's up? Much love, no fuss. Listen up, hit them with the what? Let me stop. Nah, keep it going, though. It's time for the show. Green lights, all I know is go. All I know is go. Go!
Positive vibes.
Hey, what's up?
Hello. Hello.
Yours truly, your girlfriend's favorite DJ Gold Shoes, with the lovely melanated agenda.
Hello again, everyone. Peace, prosperity, and positive vibes. I hope everyone is having a great day today. Hello, King. How are you?
Hmm. All is well. All is well. Just getting in from my little workout. Feeling good. Can't wait the next summer. I'm gonna have my shirt off, my straight drop shit. Straight drop. Just no t-shirt, no shirt, and straight gold shoes. Getting ready.
Shout out to Straight Drop and his abs.
Oh man. So what's been going on with you?
Oh, same as thing as per usual, I guess you would say. It's getting cold, so I am bearing down and trying to get acclimated to the cold. Even though I am from Chicago, it's still hard to get used to. That is pretty much it. What's going on with you, love?
Oh, nothing but the rent. Nothing but the rent. We man, I'm just excited about this new journey. We got a lot to cover today, and I don't know, man. It's just wow. I'm just so overwhelmed with everything. I'm finally glad we finally can get this thing popping. We also too. I want to make an announcement that we're gonna start the home team radio. We're gonna start that out on the Periscope. We're gonna do this like 3 times a week. Update some things with that. And the ultimate goal is to get licensed and be able to get our own internet, our website, so we can play our own music, whatever we want to play. And so we're just trying to do some big things, slowly but surely, but we're getting there.
Absolutely.
All right. So let me tell you something. Um, Now that I got you here, I wanted to talk to you about something that was dealing with the cannabis. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've been keeping up with different states and things of that nature. And we got Michigan. I don't know if you heard about Michigan. They are the first Midwest state to go recreational. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did. Hi, neighbor. Yes, come on, let us get it passed, please. Yes.
Good thing. That is a great thing. And in fact, with Michigan, they I tell people, just because if you're in a state that it may be legal medically, you still need to check your guidelines, because what I found out was certain states they may be medical, but you can't grow, or some states they won't even allow you to have the cannabis. It's only the oil. So you need to really check into those things. Also too, with these elections, to kind of figure out and look and see what your state is doing, so we can push these laws to be passed. But the only thing that I don't like about this is they're pushing the middleman out, and they're going to bring all these big corporations and farmers coming in, and there's a lot of red tape. So it's all a game, and we got to understand that. So, like, if your state is not legal yet, trust me, behind the scenes, they're trying to figure out how they're going to tax things and how they're going to place certain things and put criteria in place. But the ultimate thing is it's going to automatically be uh, legal across the board. Now, if you're in Michigan, that's good news. But if you're in college, the universities came together and they still have it where it's against the law to have it on campus. So if you're in college, you can't. So, that's kind of like one of the give and take type things. They have actually federal government funding them. So since it's still illegal federal, so they're going to support them in that manner.
Yes, that is true. And also, with employers, they still have the right to not hire you because of you ingesting cannabis in any way. So please check your states and check your job guidelines before you make a move that you really didn't know what you were doing. Just check as well. Do your research.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I remember about 2 years ago when I was in Texas, there was a teacher. She went on vacation. I think she went to Colorado, and she indulged in the cannabis. She came back. She got drug tested, and of course they found her positive, and they fired her. So she appealed it, went to court, let it be known, no, I was in a state that it was legal, so they reinstated her. But of course, that don't always apply to all of us, and not the melanated ones at that. So definitely check your the guidelines and things of that nature and what's going on with that, and support and become an advocate, because there's great benefits to it. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. So what's going on your end?
Pretty much the same thing, different day. I have been pulling back, as you know, from social media a lot lately just to indulge in life itself. And the more I pull back, the more it draws me in, unfortunately. But yeah, just indulging in life. My son will be 11 tomorrow. Happy birthday, TJ. I can remember 11 years ago this time. I was a little petrified, even though this was my second child, my last child. So, yes, we are going to celebrate his born day tomorrow. So, that in itself is enough.
That's what's up. That is what's up. It's funny you say that. And I'm going to mention this, and this is going to be the last that I do mention of it, because we kind of had a prelude of what this show is going to be about. Yeah, there has been a lot of tomfuckery going on, and I guess the home team motto, because I heard True Form, shout out to Triple C. True Form said, everything doesn't require a response. And I see a lot of people claiming positive, claiming this, claiming that, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not name calling or anything of that nature. But it's funny how we claim those things until something comes our way. And there's two things that I've learned, and I hope that somebody may hear this and it may help them. The first thing is, every response, like we said, does not require you to reply to. And also, too, just because somebody says something about you doesn't mean that you have to respond. Also, too, I'm going to say this. Sometimes we inject ourselves in other people's business. Stay away from it. Stay neutral. Actually shut it down. But see, sometimes it's our lower nature that draws us to the drama. And I had to start self-evaluating myself. And I'm going to tell you something. I learned something. I used to say, well, you know what? I'm just going to look in the bushes or in the balcony and things of that nature. But I've stopped doing that. And what I've learned is some of these streams, you'll see that they have a lot of view count, but not too many people in the chat. So what that's actually doing is supporting the person in their fuckery. But they can't do it, or they won't do it, if they don't see the views. But if person chooses to support, that's what they choose to do. And I've learned that people will see that positive in you, that energy, and they'll pour from you because that's what they desire. But we have to be wise enough not to allow ourselves to be entangled in that, because that energy becomes a part of you. And when it becomes a part of you, you'll find yourself and you'll ask yourself, damn, how did I get in this? How did I get involved in this? And I look at these people and it's like every video, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of YouTube. Well, you may, I question the person sometimes, because I say to myself, if that's the case, then why are you always in the midst? Just tune it out. Tune it out. or do something else. I said this a long time ago in Majestic's interview. She interviewed me, and I said, YouTube has become the new reality TV, and that's what it is. And I've never seen so many people get caught up. It's the attention. Once these numbers get flowing, and it's something that it's the attention. And people will do anything to get views. That's point blank. If you're here for entertainment or joking, that's cool. That's cool. But don't go crying, oh, I'm so sick of this and this and that. You have to learn to stay in your lane. I don't care. And one thing we said, we're not going to look into the chat. I don't care if it's 5 people looking, 2 people looking. Just stay in your lane. And what it is that you do will pick up, because other people will wing from that. And people will come along this ride. Some will fall off. Some will stay on. But the key thing is you stay positive, because you know what it took for you to get where you got to go. And don't allow other people to pull you down. Okay, I'm done.
It's absolutely. I understand exactly what you mean. Being that I have never been one to be in a lot of chats, but I have been in more than a few balconies. I found that the more positive that you the more positive that you project, that a lot of negative energy comes around. Instead of entertaining it, I found myself just backing away from it. I see a lot, I hear a lot, but I don't say much, because this is YouTube. It is what it is. But when we started this journey, a lot, but I don't say much, because this is YouTube. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But when we started this journey, a lot, but I don't say much, because this is YouTube. It is. Don't know what happened, but technical difficulties. But as I said, I don't say much. This is YouTube. But when I found that it's coming my way, that is when it's hard. That is when the test occurs. A few people have brought things to us that we just won't entertain. But instead of entertaining it, I just, as I said, pull back from it. And that is the hard part.
Right. Absolutely. I said I wasn't going to, well, I'm going to say this, and then we're going to move on, because we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to say this. I went into a particular person's, and this is, I'm just giving an example of something. And this is not to, I wonder who it is and who's he talking about. Is he throwing shots? I don't throw shots, because I don't really even just bring up stuff. I really don't. But I just want to give this example. I went in a particular person's chat not too long ago, and I hadn't been in their chat in a while. And you know my schedule. You know what I'm normally doing. I'm normally busy. But when I get a chance to go in certain people's chats, I will. And they I guess they wanted to apologize, because they had said some things, some derogatory words towards me, because they felt a certain kind of way, because they thought I took somebody's side, something. Okay, let's get past that. But the main thing was, they said because I took their wrench. And I left it at that. But here's the thing, and I want everybody to know, this channel has been down for over 90 days. My 90 days was up. They still didn't want me to go live. So I'm like, okay. So I took this page, this channel, and I made it a brand channel. A brand channel is where you take your channel and you can transfer everything to a brand channel. So it's like starting over. You have all your subs, everything, but it's like whoever you were mods, they're not mods anymore. So as they came in, I would add those that were mods. So if you didn't really come in, then I probably didn't add you, or I didn't think about it. But I just see some of the childish things that a lot of us we just I find out like, wow, I got beef, I got issues with somebody and not even know it over the most pettiest things. So I'm learning to leave. It's sad because when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with all types of personalities. And this first episode, we're going to deal with, when we get to that part, perception through communication. And hopefully we can look at some of these things and we can self-evaluate ourselves and look at ourselves and look at how we perceive things. Okay? And there's a lot of varieties to that. But before we get into that, let's talk what's going on in the news. Anything special?
Oh, we have a few things that's going on in the news. Recently, Missy Elliott has been nominated to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
That's what's up.
And yes, we all love Missy, but a lot of songs that we don't know that she has done, she is now inducted. Well, she's nominated to be inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So I just wanted to shout out Missy because that is a lot of hard work and not too many of us is actually in there. So shout out to Missy.
Shout out to me.
Yeah. And also, Ice Cube and LL Cool J is with a network of other people is trying to buy some radio stations. I'm sorry, not radio stations, television stations from Disney to try to get a corner of the market. Unfortunately, Google was found that they were trying to monopolize or corner the market. And so they had to sell off a number of television stations. And Ice Cube and LL Cool J with a network of other people are trying to buy them. So shout out to them as well. Hopefully everything goes well with that.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, you know how they say every time we try to buy something or purchase something of value, it comes with a price.
It absolutely does come with a price, but maybe this will be a step forward in trying to help us gain a little more traction. Byron Allen has been doing it for years and years, and a lot of people don't know about it. But LL and Ice Cube, maybe they'll be able to just not corner the market, but maybe just put their little snaz on it and able to buy a little bit more stock. And I just hope, or positive vibes, and I just hope that everything works out well for them because we really need it. We are not represented well in the television broadcasting ownership industry. So I hope all goes well with that. What about you? How do you feel about it?
I'm all for it, but I'm paying attention to it. You know, I don't want to come off negative on that. I'll just say I hope something good comes out of it, but I do know a lot of times when we try to purchase something and bring some positiveness to our people, there's always some backlash. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Ready to get set up trainees coming out of the blue. I slept with LL Cool J and Ice Cube. He did this and all that stuff. And I don't want to speak that into existence, but I just say I hope that something positive does come from that. So that's really good. That's really good.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. What I have on this side of the news. So I just hope everything works out well for him and Missy, of course. She very underrated, and I just fingers crossed with them.
Absolutely.
That is all.
Absolutely. Well, look, let's go into this perception through communication.
When you first brought this to me, it was a little daunting because even though I thought I knew what the definition was, I learned a lot.
Right.
So let's dig into the topic of the evening, which is the 4 basic styles of communication or perception through communications.
Okay. Well, let's look at perception. Perception, when we think about perception, what is perception? What is perception? It's something that a lot of us, we need to really focus and understand. It is the lens in which we view reality. All right. And there are many types of lens. Now, here's 3 things that you need to understand about perception, breaking perception down: selection, organization, and interpretation. Okay. It's just like we're playing spades. Black folks love some spades. Now, if I had a hand, you know what I should have did? I should have put it up on the screen. And how many books do you think that you can get? If we were to do that, I bet you those in the chat will have different numbers. Well, I see 5. I see 3 in the possible. Oh man, I see 4. It'll be different. Those are the things that we have to gather. Once you select, you organize, and you interpret. These are things that's just like with cards. Okay. So when you're looking at things, the process is selecting it, organizing it in your mind, and interpreting it. Interpretation. These are the things that we focus on, that we perceive. Okay. Now with perception, there can come a lot of different types of perception, how you perceive something. My thing is this. I'm gonna just ask you, what do you think are certain things that can cause a person's perception to be different from another person's?
The environment in which they grew up.
Okay, yeah, environment. Whether good or bad, right?
Absolutely.
Good or bad. All right.
The events that happen in their life.
Events that happen in their lives, good or bad. A lot of people, a lot of us, and when I say or us, I'm talking about us, at me, all of us as a people. A lot of us, we don't want to deal with healing, mental illness, especially in the so-called Black community. But it's a serious problem. And a lot of us were raised, oh, you're going to be all right. Snap out of that shit. Man up. Or especially like with men. Man up. And we live in a society today, I notice people don't tell each other they love each other, especially men. Especially men. And they feel like, oh man, if I say that, it makes me feel like I'm a punk. Nah. See, a person that can express themselves, they are more like, or they're in a place where they can be set free, or they're opening themselves up for whatever may be going on, whether it be a healing process or whatever. But a lot of times, because of all these different variations where morals, you your environment, whether good or bad, a bad breakup, I've been hurt by this man so many times. I've been hurt by this woman so many times. So I don't trust these hoes. I don't trust these no good niggas. All these different things are veritable things that come and we process it so we can perceive something different. Another thing is culture. Um, I remember I used to live by this Nigerian guy, and he was like, he didn't get my jokes, our jokes. You know, it was just different. We were. It's just a different. Cultures have a lot to do with it. I remember dating a lady from the islands, and she came around my family. She was like, "Wow, y'all are loud. Are y'all arguing?" But you know, when we get together, we talk loud, and sometimes we sound a little aggressive. But it doesn't mean that we're upset. But that was her perception because she wasn't used to that, right? So the thing that we have to keep in mind is looking at the lens and understanding. So sometimes on YouTube, and I want to just address YouTube, but this is so bigger than YouTube. This whole thing is about life and dealing with family, friends, people that you're encountering with. Because really, I'm gonna tell you something. If you got such a big issue with someone on YouTube, I'm gonna tell you a secret. This works. I promise you, this is work. Everybody listening? Are you listening, MA?
Absolutely.
All right. If you got a problem with someone, I promise you this will work. Guarantee. If you got a problem with someone on YouTube, take your computer and turn that motherfucker off. That's what you do. Don't you ever turn that motherfucker back on. That's what you do. And put that in the name of positive vibes.
Wow. Okay.
You won't ready. No.
No.
But no, turn the computer off, man. Stop arguing with someone that you will never ever see in your life. I promise you, 99.9 of these people that you see on YouTube, you will never see ever. Ever. But they got your emotions up and down and feeling a certain kind of way. And really, who's caught up in the matrix? Okay, so look, let's fast forward it and let's go into perception. Perception alters a person's behavior and their communication. And we're gonna tie all this together. Let's look at some basic communications. Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
All right.
So we're diving into basic communication styles. And although we are not experts, we have found a few things and we just want to share them with you. The first one is passive communication. Passive communication is a style in which individuals have developed a pattern of avoiding expressing their opinions or feelings, protecting their rights, and identifying and meeting their needs. As a result, passive individuals do not respond overtly to hurtful or anger-inducing situations. Instead, they allow grievances and annoyances to mount, usually unaware of the buildup. But once they have reached their high tolerance threshold for unacceptable behavior, they are prone to explosive outbursts, which are usually out of proportion to the triggering incident. After the outburst, however, they feel shame, they feel guilt, and confusion. So they return back to being passive all over again.
Right. So passiveness, passive communication. I know a lot of people, I know for myself, You talk about being passive. I used to look at passive as being humble, but passive and humble are two different things. A lot of people don't know that, and they get it mixed up. They think being humble is passive. So let's dive into certain things with this passive type of communication, and let's see if we can identify with some of these things, and hopefully some of these things will help us. Passive communicators will often fail to assert themselves. Okay, they they'll a lot of times. Like man, I need to speak up for myself, but I don't. Okay, and that's usually where a lot of times we feel like when we don't, and people, you have different other styles we'll get into, it'll sometimes have you feeling like you don't have a voice, right? Okay, let's look at another one. Allow others to deliberately, or most cases, infringe on their rights. That's that doormat. Because maybe certain things from our past, insecurities, and anytime you want to jump in on some of these, just feel free.
Okay. Yes.
All right. The next one, a lot of times they fail to express their feelings, their needs, or opinions. Okay? Now, I want to say this. We're going to go down a list of these, right? And some of you may feel that you see some of these characteristics that you deal with. Just because you have some of these characteristics doesn't necessarily mean that you are a passive individual, but maybe you are. But all this is to self-evaluate yourself, okay? All right? And personally, it's nothing more weak, or I don't even want to use that word weak, more sad to me than seeing a passive male. Okay? But let's go deeper. They tend to speak softly or apologetically. Okay? They exhibit poor eye contact. All right, and slumber and bad body posture. Now, I always remember my father used to always tell me, even as a kid, he used to instill that in me. Always look a person in the eye. Always look a person in the eye. A lot of times you'll see people, and you can tell they'll look off while they're talking to you, or they'll look down, especially when they look down. That's usually a sign of not necessarily depression, but insecurity. Well,
insecurity. I said weakness, and you are right, insecurity too.
It's insecurity. Always look a person in the eye. And sometimes some people can't look a person in the eye because they know they're lying. And that's a whole nother thing. And believe it or not, when you can't look a person in the eye because you know that you're lying, really, to be honest with you, that actually is in your favor, telling you, hey, you ain't built for this shit. I don't need to be lying. When you can look a person dead in their eye and lie to them, that's a whole nother level of just diabolical. Hate that shit. All right. Let's look at some more. Passive communication. The impact of a pattern of massive communication that these individuals, number one, often feel anxious because life seems out of their control. Let me say that again. Often feels anxious because life seems out of their control. Sometimes we feel like some things in our lives are spinning out of control, and that's normal. I want us to understand that. What I've learned, that's normal. But when you get to a point where it seems like things are just going out of control, whether it's the kids, the bills, this and that, that's when you need to go back to ground zero, and reevaluate certain things, whether it be whatever it is, meditation, whatever it is that centers you, yoga, exercise, smoke some weed, whatever it is. You have
It's a self-check.
Right. Self-check. Self-check. Self-check yourself. Right. Now they say check yourself before you wreck yourself. Absolutely. Okay. Let's look at some more. The other one would be often feels depressed because they feel stuck and hopeless. And if we be honest with ourselves, we all at one point in our lives probably have felt like, man, I'm at a standstill. I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm hopeless. It's nothing. I don't see no way out. Mm-hmm. Now, this right here is another subject that we'll talk about another time. And that's positive thinking. What we call the law of attraction. You know, we can master those things. And I deal with a lot of people. I try my best to think positive. I have my days. Don't get me wrong. I have my days. We all probably do. I think the problem I have that I have to learn to get better at is when I'm thinking positive, there's always negative around me or someone pulling me into their negativity. You understand? So keeping a balance. And this is where sometimes separating from negative things, negative people. I get this asked to me a lot of times. They're like, well, how can you think positive all the time? Well, I mean, it's impossible. You ain't gonna think positive all the time. Negative thoughts come in your mind. It's just what you do with those thoughts. Do you entertain it? Do you daydream about it? Do you make it a movie? Not getting spiritual, but the good book says once something comes in your heart, so shall it be. Once you ponder on those things, we have to learn through whether it be meditation, exercising, prayer, whatever it is that we do to filter out those negative thoughts when they come, because they're going to come. Oh, they're going to come. But when you feel it and you speak positive, you meditate on positive things, and you try your best to stay around positive people, those things, that energy will come back in return. You think about a better paying job. You think about those things. Yes, the negative things. And yes, your circumstances says this and that, but we can be above those circumstances. And I'm not trying to go too far, so let's stay back on this because we'll get into the law of attraction real soon. We're going to talk about it. All right, you with me?
I am here.
All right. Here's another one. They often feel confused because they ignore their own feelings. Now,
how often have we done that?
Absolutely. And this is not about the sexes, but I do know females would tend to do this more, especially even when they're dealing with their children. They'll put their children first, and that's good. But we've got to come out of that mind frame because we're so caught up in everybody else, and you have to ask yourself, how much time do you invest in yourself? And I guarantee you, somebody will say, well, no, my children need me. I have to do this and I have to do this. And I've got to put food on the table. I've got to work. Yeah, we get that. And we get that you love your children, but how much more do you really love them? Because if you don't invest in yourself, and when you have a nervous breakdown and you up in the nut house, or you somewhere in cuckoo in la la land, wherever, then how good are you to your children? So always understand that it's important to invest in yourself, whether it be exercising, meditating, whatever, eating right. All those things count. All those things count. You got to push yourself. And I'm going to tell you something. If nobody else pushes you, you got to push yourself. You got to learn to encourage yourself. You have to learn to become a leader and get out of the rut. Most of us are in certain type of ruts. That's why a lot of us spend more time on YouTube than life. And this becomes our life. Our reality has become a virtuality. And that that virtuality is not real. Living a fantasy. And most people be everything they want to be on Facebook, on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to be. Let me tell y'all something. I am a producer. I produce for Lil Wayne. I produce for Michael Jackson. I did all these things in my lying voice. You don't know the difference. I can portray this and this and that. But most of us are hurting. So this is a chance for us to start investing in yourself. Invest in yourself. Motivate yourself. Get off. That's why we started that Get Off Your Fat Ass challenge. Get off your fat ass and get up.
Did you say get off your fat ass?
Get off your fat ass in my English voice, my old English voice. Get off your fat ass and do something. There you go. All right. So let's keep going. We good?
Yeah, good.
All right. Well, let's keep it going. All right. They're often resentful but are unaware of it because their needs are not being met. Now, that is a bad place to be. Let me repeat that. Most people that are passive are often resentful but are unaware of it because their needs are not being met. That's right. All right. So let's look at this. Let's keep going. All right.
That's the last one.
Last one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we got two more, right? Mm-hmm. No. You're right. Last one for them. Are unable to mature because real issues are never addressed.
Said a lot.
I don't think y'all heard me. Wow. Are unable to mature because real issues are never addressed. Because most people that are passive, they don't want confrontation. They will close that door and they don't want to address it and deal with it. And usually they become this doormat and then they get this resentment because they feel like nobody understands me. Everybody takes advantage of me. I don't have a voice in what it is about. And you start questioning yourself and it puts you in deeper depression. It puts your insecurity gets that much more into a place where it really messes with you. Okay. All right. Let's look at one more section of passiveness. Watch this.
This one is good. This was good.
A passive communicator will say or believe or behave like, first one, I am unable to stand up for my rights. I don't know. Now, let me say something. I'm unable to stand up for my rights. Now, what I've learned about insecure people, especially men try to overcompensate it with something else to hide behind it. Oh, this and this and this and that. And it's like it's so obvious. Just like most of the time when you see men that have been molested, or something has happened to them as a kid, or been, especially by a male adult or something like that, they become super aggressive, over aggressive, or they certain kind of way because they haven't dealt with certain things, and a lot of times they feel less than a man. But I don't know who I'm talking to, or if I am talking to anybody, but I will say this: if you're a male and you've been abused as a child by another man, don't feel less than a man. You're a child. So, but get some professional help, because I am not a professional. So I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, let's move on. I don't know what my rights are. A lot of times they don't know what their rights are. You know why? Because it goes back to their perception. Their perception has become warped. Remember, in the beginning, we talked about perception. And what is the factor of people having different types of perspectives or perceptions and things of that nature? So my perception could be off or warped or perverted or sickening, or just all kind of things, because I never dealt with those things. And now I don't know how to come out of this situation. I don't even know what my rights are. I don't even know if I'm coming or going at times. This is the passive behavior and communicator. Okay. All right. Here's another one. I get stepped on by everyone. And the reason is because a passive person normally doesn't speak up. They have strong opinions. When they go home behind closed doors, they have all the opinions in the world, and they this and this and that, but they never speak up for themselves. They never say, hey, look at this and look at that, because, I have a voice. And a lot of times we feel like our voice is not warranted, or no one will listen. But I'm gonna tell you, let me tell y'all a secret on YouTube. If you're trying to be heard on YouTube, that may not be the best place to try to be heard with your voice, because one thing about us as a people, all we want to do is debate, argue. We don't come up with no solutions. When one person proposes a solution, 3 or 4 other ones knocks it down. So the first step is get the hell off of YouTube, social media, and deal in real life. Deal with real people that you encounter with, not YouTube. Because half of these people that we think are females on YouTube are men. And half of the men that we think are men are female. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. All right. What's the next one? Okay. I'm weak and unable to take care of myself. Passive people tend to look for other people mentally, spiritually, however, to lead them. They have formulated themselves to just becoming a follower and not leading. And the very first person that we have to learn to lead is lead ourselves. Trust ourselves. If you got an issue with somebody, your issue is usually not with that person. It's usually with yourself. But I'll let that marinate.
Yes, we'll let that stew for a minute.
All right, let's look at the last one for passive, and we're gonna move on. They usually say, people never consider my feelings. Now, let me say this. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody, I'm not looking in the chat, but everyone has probably felt like that before. Now, I'm not going to look in the chat, but I'll go back and look. If you ever felt like in your lifetime, person has never considered, people never consider your feelings, put a 1 in the chat. Because that's normal. I think we all have experienced that in our lives once or twice or even more. But a passive person, that's their normal behavior. It's normal. It has nothing to do with because they're in their feelings. And sometimes we get in our feelings and we feel like that sometimes. We just get frustrated. That's normal. But most of the time, passive people, they usually feel like that all the time. Have no voice. And they feel helpless. Okay? Anything you want to add to the passive communication?
No, that spoke volumes. It said a lot. I have nothing to add to that right now.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the next one.
Well, the next section is passive aggressive communication. Passive aggressive communication is a style in which individuals appear passive on the surface, but are really acting out in anger in a subtle, indirect, or behind the scenes way. People who develop a pattern of passive aggressiveness usually feel powerless, stuck, or resentful. In other words, they feel incapable of dealing directly with the object that represents them or the situation. Instead, they express their anger in subtle, Instead, they express their anger by subtly undermining the object, real or imagined, of their resentment.
Okay. We're talking about the passive aggressive individual. And the passive aggressive individual, this is the next one. I want to let's look into some of these things that's dealing with this, because this is like taking it to another stage of passiveness, and we're going to look and see how that does. Passive aggressive communicators will often murmur or mutter to themselves rather than confront the person or issues. Use it, instead of hitting it head on. All right. So, and that kind of remind me, oh man, I used to talk back to my mom and my dad when I was in the other room. She ain't cleaning shit. What you say? I ain't say nothing. but no, but usually passive aggressive people, they usually murmur, complain to themselves, but they don't really necessarily speak up. Okay. All right. Also, they have difficulties acknowledging their anger. Now, I want us to pay especially close attention to some of these things when it's dealing with the passive aggressive type person, because these are the type of people we're just going off some of the type of people that we all will encounter, and you just got to know what you're dealing with, because people are usually they pay attention. They know who they. It's like this. People know who they can talk slick out of their mouths, get over, say little things, just like your children do. Your children know what they can get away with. You know why? Because you knew what you could get away with your mom and your dad. I knew I could get away with a little more with my mom than my dad. So we grow up observing people.
Yes, we do. It's called testing your boundaries.
Right. There you go. I like that. Testing your boundaries. That's right. Okay, so they have difficulties acknowledging their anger. They get angry, and they can't control it. They seem to always get angry a lot. But why are you angry? You know where the anger comes from? Because passive people and passive aggressive people bottle and keep things inside. And guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you keep things bottled up, keep it festered up. Wow, Jesus, hold my tongue. Oh, Lord.
Did we have an old Negro spiritual moment, darling?
Oh, we're going to have a Negro spiritual moment. Hold on, let's get us a Negro spiritual.
Wow. You're so right.
Lord, you've been good to me. I'm just gonna hold it in. Ha! And through religion, it's taught you to just hold on and keep that shit to yourself. And don't say nothing. And just hold up. And when you come a volcano, just put it on the devil. See? No, we need to get out of there. And we need to do with certain things. The more you hold stuff in, I'm telling you, you're going to explode. And usually the person that gets it is usually the person that don't really deserve it. It's a mixture of everything. Go back, and what we're going to do, we're going to put the link of some of this where we're getting a lot of this information from. And if you remember what MA said, she said usually the passive person, they hold stuff in, and they usually eventually they go off and they just vent like the Incredible Hulk. Then after they themselves like the Incredible Hulk, they feel guilty. I feel so bad. I feel so guilty.
I think this also qualifies for a Fed moment. Can we get a Fed moment, please?
Oh, which moment?
A Fed moment with boom.
Boom. Let's get us a Negro moment song for a moment.
Come together, feel this pain. Every voice making joyous noise over the place. Oh, you're gonna be hard. Come together now. Everybody gonna feel. Every voice. Oh, gonna feel the pain. Come on, over the place. Every voice making joyous noise over the place. Every voice.
All right.
Do you feel better now? You got that out. Do you feel better?
Yes. Another Negro spiritual moment. There we go. All right. Let's get back to this. Now, but see, this is what we've been taught. Hold that shit in. And especially men. You know, don't talk about it. Look, let me tell you something. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you're going through. You got to get to a point in place where you got to learn how to express yourself, or you gonna go crazy. You ain't went crazy yet. But no, let me take that back. Most people don't even know. Let me tell you. I'm gonna give y'all a little nugget. If you've ever said, "I feel like I'm about to go crazy," 9 times out of 10, you done already went crazy. You just don't know it. I'll let that marinate. But anyway, we have to learn how to communicate, talk. And see, what the problem is, we don't know who to talk to. We try to open up to any and everybody only to get our heart broken. Or this person, I can't believe this person betrayed me. They told all my business and this and that. Let me tell you something. Keep your circle small. Home team is a small circle. And I love it that way. I love it that way. Keep it small. Keep your circle small. Everybody's so quick and want to get views. They want to get views and keep your circle small. We're just talking about the internet, but what about in real life? Most of us don't really, I'm just going to be real, I'm not being funny. Most of us don't really have friends. That's why we keep it real on the internet, because we don't know how to communicate. So we got to go back to the basics, family. This is why a lot of us, why you see all this drama on YouTube. Everybody, it's all about the having positive and being this and we want to love and we want to share and we can't get along, unity this and unity that, and we can't. You know why? Because you fucked up in the head. It's you. It ain't the next person. And you just seeing a reflection of yourself. Let me tell you something. Work on yourself. When you work on yourself and when you find first of all, when you find this perfect place, this perfect click that you're looking for, when you find it, run the opposite way, because it won't be perfect anymore. Ain't none of us perfect. But if we learn to work on ourselves and stop worrying about the next person, exposing this person, you fucked up too. We all fucked up. We all got shit with us. And we got to learn how to work with ourselves and be real with ourselves and stop faking and trying to be this person and that person. You ain't real. We love the attention. And don't be a single male. And the women coming and all this stuff. Man, let that shit go. Let that shit go. And women, stop being so deceived by the image of what you see, because what you see ain't what it is. That nigga ain't shit. He owe child support. That nigga got a wife. No, he got a girlfriend and a wife on the side and a bunch of children. He been slinging dick all over the United States.
Oh, damn.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh,
my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh. Can I say pineapples, please?
I told you it was that Negro spiritual. It just got me all hyped up. I'm sorry. Let's get back there. Where were we at, Queen?
Oh. He really forgot. Oh. How can you follow that?
All right. So let's look. You're so silly.
Wow. Yes. Passive aggressive communication, though.
Right. Yeah, that part. Passive aggressive people they like to use a lot of times. They use a lot of facial expressions that don't match how they feel. I'm gonna say that again. Passive aggressive people tend to use facial expressions that don't match how they feel. What I mean is smiling when they're angry. You know, those are the ones you got to pay attention to. Okay, they say one thing, but they really feel another way. Passive aggressive people tend to like to use a lot of sarcasm. They tend to use a lot of sarcasm. And you remember when we were going over this, I told you, wow, I was looking at some of these and I'm like, wow, I see some of the things that I need to work on. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. But I want to say that doesn't necessarily mean just because you see one or two things doesn't necessarily mean that that's your type of behavior pattern. Okay. I mean, it could be, maybe not. All right. The next thing, they tend to deny there is a problem.
Now that one right there speaks volumes.
Would you like to go deeper?
Can you please go deeper, please? The reason I said that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It just it says a lot, because if you can't acknowledge it, then I am here. Train, sorry.
Usually, if you, let me say this, it don't matter if you have any type of disorder. Let me say that. The key thing is, as long as you can acknowledge it. Many people have a lot of issues that are in denial. See, that's what the problem is. A lot of us, we have a lot of problem, a lot of mental illness that it's never been diagnosed because we've never gone to the proper channels to check those things. And it's nothing definitely to be ashamed with, because I'm going to tell you personally, for myself, let me say this, that I've dealt with depression in my life, in my past, especially like coming out from my father passing away. So those are different things that a lot of us deal with. You got some people that may deal with bipolarism, just so many different things. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's nothing that me personally, would ever make fun of anybody that deals with any type of thing. So let me make myself clear with that, because that's very important. But the key thing is, if you can acknowledge and you know those things, then pay attention to certain triggers, things that you know that will activate or stir those things up. So that's why I try to stay away from certain people.
You're right. I was just testifying exactly. If you know your triggers, just stay away from them. Exactly.
That's it. Absolutely. Okay. Let's deal with the next one. Appear cooperative while purposely doing things to annoy and disrupt. Say that again. Because I don't think I heard that. Appear cooperative while purposely doing things to annoy and disrupt. So they appear one way, but behind the scenes they're doing things to disrupt and be annoying. That sounds like that's some satanic shit right there. That's some sick manipulative type shit.
Unfortunately, it sounds very vaguely familiar, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So these people, when you start paying attention, let me say this. You don't have to study people. If you study yourself, you'll know everything you need to know about people. Because we're all the same. It's just that some people actually do some of the foul things that we may think in our mind, but we just know I ain't crossing that line. I still have a little bit of morals about myself that I ain't gonna do no shiesty shit like that. But when you see sister or brother such and such do it, then you're like, that's a shiesty ass Negro right there. But it crossed your mind to do it. You know it did. So learn about yourself, and then it will help you to understand other people and how to deal with those people. Some people with a long handle spoon.
Long ass handle.
Long ass handle, right. Long handle, right. Okay. So let's keep it moving. Use subtle sabotage to get even. They'll do certain things to get even with you. Do little manipulative things. So basically, this what we're reading so far from the passive aggressive person. They're just like the passive person, but the passive person really doesn't do nothing, but just sits there, lay there, and be the doormat. The passive aggressive person, they get back by doing a little sneaky stuff instead of just being just communicating. This is where all the other conniving type stuff. And if you ever dealt with a conniving person or did things that's like, what the hell was that about? But then they grinning in your face. This is the type of person that you're probably dealing with. And you have to be careful. Don't be listen, don't put a wall up. No. Don't put a wall up. Put a gate. There's a difference. And a gate is somewhere you can control what goes in and you can control what goes out. You're the watchman. You're the watchman of your gate, your heart, right? But when you put a wall up, you ain't letting nothing come in. So sometimes when something positive is coming your way, you don't know the difference because you got the wall up. I ain't trusting nobody, and I don't know nobody, trust nobody. Okay. Let me also too, females, especially females, if you're super paranoid with being on YouTube, get off YouTube. I mean, I get it as a female protecting yourself. I do get that. I understand that. I respect that. You have to as a female. But if it gets you to the point where you're super paranoid and you don't even realize it and you're living off of fear, social media is not the place for you. It really isn't. First of all, take some of those things off of yourself. You're putting more on yourself than actually you need to have on yourself. Okay? And if you don't trust people, that's understandable, as you shouldn't. But just allow a person to show themselves. They always do. They always do. They always do. Want to add anything?
Every time. They do every time. They show themselves, and if you sit back and pay attention, I have learned to, if you shut up and just listen, people will tell on themselves.
Absolutely.
So I am absolutely loving that. So that's just my feelings on that.
Let's look at some more. All right. Let's look at passive aggressive people. The impact of a pattern of a passive aggressive communication is that these individuals, number one, become alienated from those around them. If you're a person that's to yourself, that doesn't necessarily mean you're passive aggressive, but just these are certain characteristics. You just start paying attention, number one, to yourself before you start paying attention to everybody else. Don't give everybody else a damn label until you label yourself and be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror, as in what Suicide 29 always calls it. He says the soul mirror. Well, you look in the mirror. As you look in the mirror, you look at yourself and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Because a lot of times we suppress things about ourselves that we don't really like, that we try to keep it in the back, in the closet. We shut it up and we say to ourselves, I'm okay. Nah, you got to self-check yourself. Okay. All right. They remain stuck in a position of powerlessness. They stay in a position like POWs, prisoners of their own situation. They feel stuck. No way out. Okay? All right. Let's move along. They tend to discharge resentment while real issues are never addressed, so they can't mature. Goes back to what we were saying earlier about the passive person. These people, they hold grudges and resentment over petty shit instead of addressing real shit. This is why they're not mature. Okay? All right, after this one, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to finish this one up. Let me just finish I got a couple of more. And then we're going to take like a 5-minute break and we're going to come back. All right. Okay. So let's look at the next one. The passive aggressive communicator will never say or believe or behave. Oh, I'm sorry, will say or believe or behave like, I am weak and resentful, so I sabotage, frustrate, and disrupt. Okay. Watch this. I'm powerless to deal with you head on, so I must use guerrilla warfare. Most people, it's nothing worse than a man not manning up and talking to another man or doing little vindictive stuff. What you call throwing a rock and hiding your hand. Look at me, I ain't did nothing. Hey, what did I do?
Is that also called playing chess with the people?
Playing chess with the people. And usually they won't own up to their bullshit. It's always somebody else's fault. Always.
I'm sorry.
No,
Could it also be the art of war tactics that we are playing amongst each other?
Yep. Art of war, art of bullshit. You full of shit. The art of you ain't shit. You ain't worth 2 dead flies. The art of all of it. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. Last one, and we're gonna take a break. I will appear cooperative, but I really am not. Okay. All right. We're gonna take a quick 5-minute break. I want you guys to kind of just go back and think about some of these things. Passive and then passive aggressive. And then we're gonna go into the last portion of it, and then we're gonna have a little discussion in closing. So we'll be back in 5 minutes.
See you later.
Shout it, oh, run it, say it, holler, shout it, oh, run it, oh, baby, say it, oh, baby, gold juice, oh, run it, say it,
Love yours. Love yours. No such thing. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. Heart beating fast, let a nigga know that he alive. Fake niggas mad, snakes in the grass, let a nigga know that he arrived. Don't be sleeping on your level, cause it's beauty in the struggle, nigga. Goes for all y'all. It's beauty in the struggle, nigga. Let me explain. Yeah. It's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. Hear my words and listen to my signal of distress. I grew up in the city and know sometimes we had less. Compared to some of my niggas down the block, man, we were blessed. And life can't be no fairy tale, no once upon a time. But I be goddamn if a nigga don't be trying. So tell me, mama, please, why you be drinking all the time? Cause all the pain he brought you still linger in your mind. Cause pain still lingers on mine. On the road to riches, listen, this is what you find. The good news is, nigga, you came a long way. The bad news is, nigga, you went the wrong way. Think being broke is better. A life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Think being broke is better. A life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. For what's money without happiness? Or hard times without the people you love? Though I'm not sure what's about to happen next. I ask for strength from the Lord up above. Cause I've been strong so far, but I can feel my grip loosening. Quick, do something before you lose it for good. Get it back and use it for good. And touch the people how you did like before. I'm tired of living with demons cause they always inviting more. Think being broke was better. Now I don't mean that phrase with no disrespect to all my niggas out there living in debt. Cashing minimal checks. Turn on the TV, see a nigga Rolex. And fantasize about a life with no stress. I mean this shit sincerely. And as a nigga who was once in your shoes, living with nothing to lose, I hope one day you hear me. Always gonna be a bigger house somewhere, but nigga feel me. Long as the people in that motherfucker love you dearly. Always gonna be a whip that's better than the one you got. Always gonna be some clothes that's fresher than the ones you rock. Always gonna be a bitch that's better out there on the tours. But you ain't never gonna be happy till you love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing, no such thing. Heart beating fast, let a nigga know that he alive. Fake niggas mad, snakes in the grass, let a nigga know that he arrived.
And we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Come on. Hey. Hey.
Home team infinitely. Yes, we are back.
Can't wait till next week. Got my Negro spiritual song ready. I might sing that one. All right.
You already got it prepared. You already have it prepared, darling. Really? You're amazing. Very good.
Always be Negro prepared. All right. Let's look at what is okay. So we covered passive, passive aggressive. What's the next one?
Well, the next one is first, I like to thank, if possible, I like to thank everyone. I am not looking at the chat. I have done that on purpose because I don't want to be distracted, and I know that I don't have the discipline to do so. So I like to thank everyone for indulging our point of view. And thank you so very much for coming. I so very much appreciate it. I hope you get something, if anything, just a little something from this. I hope you keep us as positive, and instead of all the drama, just at least get some knowledge and get some knowledge and just come out and have fun with us. So thank you so very much for coming out. I'd like to give a special shout out to Triple C TV, of course, the Truth Forum for our always supporting us. Thank you so very much. I'd like to give a shout out to Majestic because she has done a lot for us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also like to give a special thanks to Cupcake Gratitude Show. Thank you so very much for the graphics. And Connie Song always been having bangers, and they are sleepers. So thank you so very much. Appreciate it so very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Everyone in the chat, special shout out. I love you guys. Everybody. Everyone.
Yes.
Let's go into dig deeper into these last two. What is the next one? Let's talk about it.
The next segment is assertive communication. Assertive communication is a style in which individuals clearly state their opinions and feelings and firmly advocate for their rights and needs without violating the rights of others. These individuals value themselves, their time, and their emotional, spiritual, and physical needs, and are strong advocates for themselves while being very respectful of others' rights as well as others.
All right. Let's look at that. It's important as we discuss these because being assertive, this is where we would say right in the middle. Someone that is assertive, a lot of times now, people that are assertive are people that they speak their minds, and they usually will speak it in a respectful manner. But dealing with certain people and their perception, they perceive an assertive person as, and I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves, as the next type of behavior that is a little more forceful, I'll say. But assertiveness is one that speaks their mind. And sometimes you can be in a place that speaks your mind and do it very respectful, and it can get you in some trouble. Have you ever, and I'm using this YouTube stuff, but really this is so bigger than YouTube. And I'm just using it for the sake of saying it because I want us to really look at real life. YouTube is not real life. It's not. It's a virtual reality that you can connect with some real people. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if you base off everything off of your perception and how you're dealing with people on YouTube or social media, you're in trouble. Because we're in a society now that we don't communicate like we should. We don't talk. We don't pick the phone up, and I'm guilty of that. It's easy just to text or even send a audible voice message. But it's a lot of times we don't want to deal with certain things. But let me say this: assertiveness is where we all are striving to be. But in some cases, because of different people's perception, they can take an assertive person as something bad. Have you ever gone in a person's live stream and you were very respectful, but you kind of spoke your opinion about something? And because it wasn't their opinion, it didn't fit their agenda, they probably cussed you out, they blocked you, and they put you on blast. A lot of times we have to learn how to respect other people's opinion and learn to speak what's on your mind. Speak clearly. Most people, whether they like it or not, they still respect someone that is assertive. They get a lot of respect. Usually, if you notice, passive people and passive aggressive people, they usually feel like they don't get the respect that they would like. They're overlooked. It's because they usually don't speak their mind. They feel like they're in a room full of people and everyone is connecting except for them. Yep. All right, so let's look at this. Assertive.
Not only do they not feel like they they wouldn't speak their mind, they also feel as if they are not accepted or it's an unwanted thing sometimes, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm. I happened to look in the chat and I said I wasn't going to look in the chat. Not all the time, but in some cases. Some cases, it all depends on how a person perceives. Like, for example, if you were a person that grew up being mentally abused, for example, sometimes your perception could be, oh, they're aggressive. When they're not being aggressive, they're actually being assertive. And it's because your perception of people speaking with authority can maybe come off as being aggressive, but not necessarily aggressive. There's a fine line. I'll give you an example. We were taught, like, people up north, and I don't, if we have anybody in the chat that's from New York, peace. But we were taught, like, you go to New York, you're like, hey, how you doing? What do you mean, how you doing? What do you mean? They look at you in a different light. They can tend to be more assertive and sometimes aggressive. Now, to us, we may perceive them as being aggressive. But another Brooklynite or someone from, they're like, no, that's just how we are. We just, we're not aggressive. We're just assertive. That's just us. We're not, But perception is everything. This is why perception through communication is very important. Sometimes, being a person, if you're a person that wear your emotions on your sleeve, now a lot of us do. A lot of us, we're what we would say sensitive. And a lot of men are sensitive. That does not make a man weak. But weak men tend to be sensitive. But you don't have to be, just because you're sensitive doesn't mean you're weak, especially a man. Because we were taught to be hardcore. Don't cry. Shut up. That's why most of us are so jacked up. And we tend to use other things to self-medicate our feelings. I know they've been there. Message. All right. Let's go. Assertive. You have anything else before we start looking at some of these things? We're going to drive this thing home.
No, I am listening. Let's go. Continue on, darling.
All right. Assertive communicators will state needs and wants clearly, appropriately, and respectfully. You hear that? We have to learn to start stating our needs in our lives. If you're in a situation where you're at home, family, friends, I'm not talking about social media, YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Sorry, excuse my French. Positive vibes. Fuck YouTube. We're talking about real life. Learn to speak your mind. See, and I'm going to tell you, if you're not a type of person that's used to doing it, the first few times it's going to feel so funny. Feel so funny. You're like, oh. How many of you ever done something for somebody only 120 times? And the very first time you said no, or you couldn't do it, you felt funny, or you felt like they looked at you kind of sideways. Look at you. You think you better than somebody. You know what? Because they're basically counting on you to say yes because you always say yes. But I'm gonna tell you, there's so much power in the word no. Try it once.
What word did she say?
No. No.
Oh.
I challenge everybody to try it. Start speaking up for yourself. But respectfully. See, I used to have a battle of, my battle used to be, I would let things slide because I don't know how to say it sometimes. I don't know how to say it in a respectful way. I'm not trying to come harsh because the way I feel, I can come real rugged with this. So sometimes I kind of let things slide. And sometimes it gets a little out of hand where I should have gone ahead and just said something right then and there. So sometimes we have to learn how to say, how to communicate in a appropriate or respectful way. And sometimes, let me tell you something. Once again, humbleness is not passive. Humbleness is strength under control, restraint, harnessing certain things and using it in its proper text that it comes out right. Okay, so that's a practice that we have to do. It's an exercise. You know, we have to learn to do these things. And a lot of times, if you tell a person no and you just be real with them, they won't ask you because you know they're gonna come to you. Then you ain't got to keep hiding and ducking their calls. You know what I'm saying? Just no. You ain't got to worry about it. They don't ask this person, they don't ask that person because they already know. Nigga, you better get out of my face. You ain't borrowing nothing. All right, let's finish this up. Okay. The next one is a assertive person expresses feelings clearly. Hear me? They're good at expressing their feelings clearly, appropriately, and respectfully. Okay? Now, hear me. Some people are better communicators writing. I'm not. And I'm like, damn, spell check. And then I get how many of you would be like, damn, how do you spell it? Fuck it. I-T, it. It be them small words. I ain't got time for all that. And I got all these feelings bottled up and I need to get this shit out. Let me just audibly say this shit. Damn. But some people can write that stuff and make that pen say something magical, but I can't. And I feel like a lot of times when I write stuff, I get it. People they misunderstand what I'm trying to say. So I'm better at communicating audibly. Some people may be writing. It just depends. But we have to learn how to express ourselves. Okay? These are key nuggets that we need to be. We need to be right here in this assertive range. So these are the things that we're going to have to work on, family. Now, this next one, you got to be careful with this. You remember when we talked about this one, right? The next one is they tend to use I statements. Is that good or is that bad? I tend to use I statements. What's your take on that?
It can go either way. As I said before, it can go either way. I and me. So.
Right. So when they say I, now I was always taught, and I do believe people that's always I, those are, it's all about them. It is about us, but to a degree. Sometimes we do have to have, I feel like we have to have balance, that we don't have, every time it shouldn't be just about us. We should always be a person that is able to listen to another person and listen to what they have to say. But it is also important that we put ourselves in a situation where we take care of ourselves and we look out for ourselves. Okay, let's move along. The next one is they communicate respect for others. They communicate respect for others. Okay? Communicate respect for others. All right. The next one, they listen well without interrupting. Oh boy. I used to be really, really good at that. I used to really be good at that. And I don't know what happened. Sometimes I think because I talk a lot, and when you with two people that talk a lot, it's like playing double dutch, and you trying to get a word in, you waiting for a pause, and you jump in, and you know what I'm saying. So, but interrupting, and that's something that like you and I, we've dealt with, and we've learned exercises that has helped. I know you, like a lot of times when we're talking online, you'll mute your mic. I'm like, she always muting the mic for? Damn, what the hell? I'm talking to dead air. But I understand. Like, shit, what the hell? Negro. Damn. Sign language, this motherfucker. But anyway, so that's a good exercise. But what I've learned,
well, it's not so good because although you can mute a person now, but in your everyday life, you can't mute. So it's kind of tricky. It gives you a little more discipline on not being. I don't know. I just think that you have to use it with caution. That is all. And I have not been doing that lately. That's all.
Right. We discussed this, and I think it may start with muting. If you're a type of person that, like if you're over the phone and things of that nature, and you're cutting each other off, that may be a start. But what I also learned to do is, instead of injecting, being so quick to inject, like, oh, no, and then you're not allowing that person to get their thoughts out, is I'll I'll write down certain points that were said. I'll write certain points that were said. And as I write those things down, then I'll go back and be like, okay, now you said this, and I remember you said this, and blah, 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 so I don't forget. Because a lot of times when a person's talking, you'll have a point that you want to bring in, but they went somewhere else and you forgot them. So the key thing is to remember those things. But what we have to learn to also do is get to a point and place where we discipline ourselves. Discipline. First of all, remember, I said this earlier. Just because somebody says something about you or especially about somebody else, that should be the easiest thing. You don't have to reply. Discipline. But that's my homeboy, and that's my homegirl, and this and that. And I have love for certain people, and I've heard certain people speak negative about certain people, but they ain't saying anything. Why am I saying anything? Just let it go. Let it go. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, but that's the best thing. That's discipline. That's how you learn to become positive. Everybody's striving positive vibes, good vibes. I see all this hashtag positive stuff. And as soon as something pop off, they in the middle of shit. Always. They in the middle. And a lot of stuff don't have nothing to do with them. Positive vibes. Let me tell you something. You can't have positive without a what? A negative. I'm going to say that again. You can't have a positive without a negative. So negative is always going to be around. So positive vibes or positiveness does not exist unless you overcome negativeness. And if you're not overcoming the negative that's around you, you're not positive. You can't just pick it up when you want to pick it up. Sit your ass down some damn way and get some discipline in your life before you hashtag and all this stuff. And then next minute you all in everybody else's business and all in the middle of bullshit. Okay, I'm calm. That's what we have to do, fam.
I will let you.
No, but this is how we overcome this. It's wisdom. A lot of this stuff I'm saying, people, yeah, weird, sound good. Try it. Try it. If you have a problem, you find yourself always in the middle of some bullshit, just try it. Don't reply. They're going to talk about you regardless. People, and what I've learned, and I've never, ever said this, Melanated. You know this, and out loud. But things have been brought to my attention. I'm like, oh no, that's just, I'm flattered. They see something about me or whatever. But what I've learned is, and I see people, and I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it because some people say it, and it's like, what the fuck I'm jealous of you for? But some people are jealous. And I think the jealousy comes because of my communication with other people, and how I get along and interact with other people and how they interact with me. And it's really a jealousy. But you can't do it because really deep down, you got some hidden bullshit about yourself with your passive aggressive ass, some sneaky sabotage type stuff. See, this is the positive. It ain't easy. What?
I will shut up now.
So what I'm trying to say is there's times that I do. You think it's easy? No, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy. But if it gets too out of control, I'm just going to turn off my laptop. It's not that hard. We're not kids. We should be mature adults. So I'll let that go. Let's get back into this. All right. All right. Listen well without interrupting. The next one is they feel in control of themselves. Now, ain't that a beautiful thing? That's where we all want to be, where we feel that we're in control of ourselves. Because every one of us have been to a point where we have said in our lifetime, if this MF say one more word to me, I'm going to knock the cowboy shit out of him. One more, especially on your job. I remember them days. Monday morning, you already know this Negro gonna say something slick, and you just at ends with, and you about to lose control, and you on the verge of losing your job because you ready to smack him. You tired of the bullshit because you didn't held all this stuff up. But when we get into this point in place where we're assertive and we're feeling good about ourselves and we're walking in this positive vibe because the vibration of positive that we're putting out is coming back our way. I don't like when people try to ride off of your wave of peace because you feeling peace. But as soon as something go down, then they want to pull you in their filth. And then they want you to take sides. I'm rocking with this person. I'm rocking with that person. And I ain't dealing with this person. Man, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. This is not serious. That's serious to me. It's not that serious to me. All right, let's finish. Shall we continue? All right.
Absolutely. We shall continue.
How an assertive person has good eye contact. Remember, the other ones usually eye contact. A lot of times, a person that does not really operate in have good eye contact. A lot of times, and I'm not gonna say every time, I'm not gonna say that, but most cases, if they're not lying, they got low self-esteem or something. They're dealing with something. They got a lot on their mind. They may not even have low self-esteem. They're just dealing with a lot of stuff, and it shows. Because a lot of people, I'm a great reader of body language and discernment. And I because number one, I'm an empath and I can feel other people's pain. I can feel what they're dealing with. I can feel certain energies. And sometimes that's not always a good thing because sometimes you can be around certain people and they just drain you and you can't explain it. And when you try to explain it to other people, they look at you like you crazy as hell. But it's certain energies that people portray. And it's just a aura or something. It's like, it sucks you into the point where you just feel like you don't have no energy. You just like, you suffocates you. And you don't want to be around those people. You love them, but you know it's pulling you. And they don't understand. And they won't understand. They'll think you're trying to be funny. And it's not that. Because I have love for everyone. No, let me take that back. No, I don't. I'm not a Christian. And I have nothing against anybody that is a Christian, but I don't love everybody. I don't. Okay. Let's look at this. All right, let's finish. We got to take this home because this is what time is ticking. All right, so now the next one is they speak in a calm, clear tone of voice. Calm, clear voice. No, nigga, and I'll bust your head, nigga. You say one more word, nigga, I'll bust your head to the white meat. Calm, clear tone. It's not that serious. And you can see some people revving themselves up, and it's like you trying to diffuse it. There's a scripture that I want everybody, if that's in the chat, I'm not watching the chat. You don't have to do it now, whether you believe in the good book or not. I want you to go to Proverbs, I think it's Proverbs 15, verse 1. Sometimes, and I'm paraphrasing that. I don't have nothing around me, but when it comes to scripture, I can quote it, but that's another story. A soft answer, sometimes a soft answer will keep a lot of other stuff from uproaring, coming up. Just read it on your own time. Okay? Calmness. But you can't have that calmness unless the calmness is in you. Don't let nobody take you from your center and keep that calmness, that peace. All right. So let's finish. They feel have a relaxed body posture. Just because you don't have a relaxed body posture doesn't necessarily mean you do or you don't, or you are assertive, but it usually shows. Okay. All right. The next one is they feel connected to others. They feel connected to others. Okay. The next one is they feel competent and in control. Always the key thing is we want to get to a point where we feel in control of our situation. And a lot of people, when they don't feel in control or their things, that's when anxiety and everything else comes in, and fear. Rightfully so, because fear comes in when you don't feel like things are in you have things in control. You don't know what to expect. And that can bring on fear. Don't know what to expect. But when you have everything lined up, you feel confident, right? This is an assertive person. All right. Not allow others to abuse or manipulate them. Okay, the wolves are out there, manipulative people. We already know the passive aggressive person, he's coming or she's coming with the trickery and all the other manipulative things that comes, and they're trying to sabotage, and you see right through them. It's nothing worse when you see somebody smiling in your face and you know good and well they don't really like you or care about you, and you just paying attention because you don't know what you have to pay attention because they're up to something, basically is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's move along. Not allow others to abuse and manipulate them. We said that. And the last one for this one is stand up for their rights. Stand up for your rights. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Sometimes we like to drag things and make 10 parts, a 10-part live stream about what somebody did wrong. And when I see that, I'm saying, okay, this Negro right here or this Negro, they just trying to get views. Sometimes some things you don't need to say nothing. Some things you do need to say something. And when you do, say it and move along. Unless you're trying to get views. All right. So now, the assertive person, the impact of a pattern of assertive communication is that these individuals feel connected to others. They feel in control of their lives, are able to mature because they address issues and problems as they arise. Okay. All right. What else? As they arise. The last one for this session, they create a respectful environment for others to grow and mature. Let me say that again. Message. They create a respectful environment for others to grow and mature. Understand that this is what it's about. So those that are positive, support those that are really positive. Now, let me say something. Use wisdom, family. I got to say this. Use wisdom. Don't just follow people just because they say they positive and they're about this and they're about unity, they're about love and all this stuff. Don't follow them unless they're bearing the fruit. What fruit are you bearing? If you don't see no fruit, then why are you messing around with them? Because what's going to happen is you're going to get bit. You're going to get bit. But when you see other people that are trying to create a positive environment, support those people. Support them. And there are a few. And let me tell you something. Sometimes it may seem like it's boring, but you're feeding your spirit, your soul, what's inside of you. Because whatever you feed yourself is what you're going to become. You keep watching that negative shit and you're going to find yourself keep drawn to it in the bushes looking. Some of these people are going to be 65 still beefing with each other on YouTube. Watch. I'll see in about watch in 20 years, they're gonna be about 60 years old and they're gonna still be beefing. All right. So now, if you feel connected, our assertive communicators will believe or behave or in ways they say we are equally entitled to express ourselves respectfully to others. They also, I am confident about who I am. Let me tell you something. Be comfortable with who you are. Learn about yourself. We're all different. It's okay to admire things about other people, but he made you how he made you. Feel comfortable in your own skin because you are special. Seriously. You got so much in you that other people need. But you ain't comfortable with yourself and you're hindering other people from being healed. Because if you can just make somebody smile, you've done something. You've done something. This is where we have to give back to the community. It ain't always about money and I do this and bragging. I can't stand to see these people, these celebrities, and they be on there and they handing out money to people and these home. What? You don't have to do that. You don't have to tell everything that you do if it's coming from the heart, because they ain't really comfortable with themselves. They need that the accolade. But anyway, let's keep moving. I keep preaching. All right. So now, they realize I realize I have a choice in my life, and I consider my options. These are people that consider their options. Okay, we're almost done. All right. I speak clearly, honestly, and to the point. I can't control others, but I can control myself. Now, listen to me. Listen to me, people. If you don't remember anything, listen to this. An assertive person says and believes, I can't control others, but I can control myself. Everybody can learn to control themselves, would be all right. But we're trying to control everybody else and want them forcing people to believe what we want to believe, and you can't do that. Work on self. That's where unity begins with self, not following this clique and that clique. Unity begins with self. All right. All right. Speak. I speak clearly, honestly, and to the point. I place a high priority on having my rights respected. Let me tell you something. You don't have to like a person, but you're going to respect. Oh, you're going to respect. And if I can't get that respect, you don't exist to me. Like a lot of people on YouTube do not exist to me. They don't. They don't exist to me. I'm not giving them power by worrying about what they're doing and no. They don't exist to me. If I can't get the respect, and if you can't get the respect, then cut them off. Learn to respect one another. That's what it's about, respect. Ain't do that. All right, let's get that thing. What you got something?
No, I'm sitting back in the car listening.
I can hear your cat. All right. All right. Now let's move on. I am responsible for getting my needs met in a respectful manner. You're responsible for your needs being met and being respected. You're responsible. Everybody has or everybody is a leader. Well, everybody don't exercise their leadership, because you got to be a leader for yourself. You are the CEO of your own destiny, your own decisions and things that you do in life. All right? Okay. I'm losing my place. Respect the rights of others. That's another thing. We have to respect everyone else and those that, I was always taught to get respect, you must respect. Some people don't look at it that way and you still won't get respect. But show yourself. I'm always taught to make a friend, you must become a friend. That's my friend. That's my friend. I don't say that. All right. Nobody owes me anything unless they agree to give it to me. That's the assertive person's attitude. Nobody owes. If you're looking for certain things, you have to get past that. Sometimes we may be looking for family members and things. We may have questions, and that's okay. But we have to move on from hurt and things that people may have done in our lives. Don't make that a chance for it to make us better, not bitter. You know what I'm saying? All right. I am 100% responsible for my own happiness. No one else is. Let me tell you that. You're responsible for your own happiness. And if you want happiness, you must search for happiness. Happiness. But in order to do those things, you have to learn to embrace yourself. Because if I say, hey, let's go, I ain't gonna say skiing, because hell, if I want to go skiing, maybe, just I'm thinking, let's go hiking or something. I don't know, just thinking of something. You may say, I don't know damn hiking, but the reason why you may not really enjoy hiking is because you got so much stuff going on with yourself that you can't allow yourself to embrace life. How many of us have ever just went outside and like, damn, look at those trees and just observe things? We take everything for granted because we got so much that's going on with ourselves. So we can't enjoy life. We can't enjoy nature and things of that nature. We can't observe the smallest things and allow that to bring happiness to us. Somebody's locked up. They got life. They ain't getting out no time soon, or their life is on the line, and they wish they had the certain things that you have that will bring them happiness. So embrace those things. Embrace those things. Okay. So let's go to the last one. We're gonna close out. What is the last one?
The last one is an aggressive communication.
Aggressive communication.
Aggressive communication is a style in which individuals express their feelings and opinions and advocate for other needs and advocate for their needs, not others' needs, and advocate for their needs in a way that violates the rights of others. Thus, advocating and communication is verbally and physically abusive.
Okay. So this is where I didn't want to go ahead of myself, where a person that their perception may be off or kind of warped or whatever, they may perceive, because they're not used to people speaking up for themselves. If they're not used to that, they may take a person that is assertive and think that they're being aggressive. Okay. It's easy to, but an aggressive communicator will often try to dominate another or others. They try to dominate the situation or the conversation and things of that nature. An aggressive person or communicator use humiliation to control others. An aggressive communicator love to criticize and blame or attack others. An aggressive communicator, they can be very impulsive, do impulsive things, just impulsive. Usually an aggressive communicator, they have a low frustration tolerance. Get frustrated real easy. Okay. And mind you, some of us may see some of these characteristics in us. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're an aggressive communicator. You may be aggressive at times, and we all can at certain times if you push us or our backs against the wall, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your normal behavior pattern. But these are just certain things to look out for. So I just want to say that. An aggressive communicator speaks in a loud, demeaning, and overbearing voice. An aggressive communicator acts threateningly and rudely. Aggressive communicator often they don't speak well. They don't express, they just attack. Okay. An aggressive type communicator interrupts frequently. An aggressive communicator, in closing, they usually use the word you statements. You, it's your fault. You. Okay. Um, they can have an overbearing or intimidating posture. All right. Become alienated from others, alienate others. They try to separate you and do that divide and conquer type thing, and those type things to keep you from communicating with others. Um, they generate fear and hatred in others. They always blame others instead of owning their issues and unable to be mature. Okay. All right. Aggressive communicator will say or believe or behave like I'm superior and right. You're inferior and wrong. I'm loud, bossy, and pushy. I am dominant and I intimidate you. I can violate your rights. I'll get my way no matter what.
Mm.
You're not worth anything. Belittle a person to make them to pull their self-esteem down. It's your fault. I'm telling you, crazy people and people like this will have you thinking or feeling like something's really wrong with you because you'll start believing them. And a lot of us have been told these negative things about ourselves, and we still have a problem coming out of those thought patterns because it's been instilled in us. All right. In closing, it's all your fault. You're not worth anything. All right. I react instantly. I'm entitled. You owe me. I own you. Okay. All right. So these are the 4 different things that different patterns that you may see. Let me ask this is to the chat. Um with those 4, which one would you look at as being the most dangerous? Of course, being assertive wouldn't be the most, but which behavior pattern do you feel would be considered the worst? Or is there one that may be worse than the other? And you can chime in because we're going to close out with this.
I want to give the chat a chance to chime in before I say anything of my own opinion. So that was very eye-opening. I can say it's a lot. You think you may know a definition of something until you really dive into it. So I am just perplexed at all the information that I got, and I learned so very much from this.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll give everybody a chance to kind of chime in. Um I want to I'm waiting. I'm going to pull up the chat real quick. Okay. I see aggressive. And I think you and I we kind of had a conversation, and I would say aggressive definitely is a red flag. I mean, it's the obvious. Okay, we could say it's the worst, but though I think okay, if aggressive is the worst, then the one that you really would have to really pay attention to that could be very subtle. That's I think the most dangerous of them all is because okay, well you see the person that's aggressive. you see it for what it is. But the passive aggressive one is the one that you really have to pay attention to more often than the others. And the reason why I say that is because the passive aggressive person, one of the characteristics, remember, is they use facial expressions that don't match how they feel. They smile when they're angry. It's a dangerous person. Okay. And they're the type that will sabotage. Now, that's the type of person you don't realize that's really doing things behind your back that's sabotaging. If I see this aggressive individual, I know personally, okay, I need to stay away from that person. But sometimes we can be in a relationship with someone that, okay, there's a lot of cults will say that. And you go and you see what it is. That some of the leaders use manipulation. Those people are caught up in under their spells. But for a lot of times, we see those things from afar. Most of us. Some of us get caught up into that. Okay, we can see right through their aggressive ways, and we see what they're doing. But that passive aggressive individual is one that you really, really should pay attention to. Okay, because they're all around us. All right. In closing, MA, you have anything you want to share?
The only thing I was thinking of was that passive aggressive thing. Mm-hmm. Those are what we call snakes in the grass.
Right.
And so when I look at the definition of that and how you broke passive aggressive down, it said a lot about the type of person that is. So right. I just chimed in to say that, yeah, you have to be very careful of those type of people, because those are the ones who are in the background manipulating behind the scenes. It's a lot of stuff that you don't know what's going on, but they are an active participant in it. So, absolutely. That's I want to say. More thoughts.
When I'm looking in the chat, Truth One said, all got pros and cons, kind of, and that's true. So it's not always. I threw that out there, but I just want to see what people say. Technically, I wouldn't say that there's one that's worse than the other. They all are bad, but the passive aggressive one is one that it's easy to get caught up into it. And sometimes people can actually change their communication patterns or their behaviors. They can come off passive aggressive to get you caught up into their web or their spells, or to manipulate you to get you to a point in place. Then you'll see more of their aggressive side. So
it's called the honeymoon period.
Right. The honeymoon period. So these are just a few things that our guys can get a chance. And when we're going to put this up on the other channel. In fact, the link to the podcast channel is actually in the description. And I'm going to put something in the chat. And so if everyone would just make sure that you sub to this particular channel, because we're going to eventually be putting everything over there, and we're going to be doing our lives there eventually. Okay, so I want to say peace and love to everyone, and I want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting, and I just thank you guys, and we're going to keep bringing you hopefully some good content. And hopefully we can learn all together and grow together as a family. So, anything you want to say before we close out?
Peace, prosperity, and positive vibes. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Bye-bye.
Peace.